Rockdose has returned, and today I'm going to be bringing you a build overview for my level 100 Cabalist, sitting right here named Nemesis. I went through and conquered several of the Nemesis monsters that you're about to see in a few minutes. I saved all of my skill tree, devotion, and gear till the end, but spoiler alert, this character is not wearing any set bonuses. It's all just mismatched gear. Looks like I'm wearing the corruption set, but I just really like the aesthetic. I think I am wearing the hood of the corruption set, but no set bonuses to be found on this character. So I hope you enjoy the video. If you do, please leave a like, share, and subscribe. Without further ado, check this out. Fabius, the unseen good sir. Come on, buddy. Some of my skeletons right off the bat. Okay. He murdered my hellhound. Some of that. Good luck. One right after the other. Hey there, buddy. Gotta clear out all the enemies that are trying to heal him. Only lost one skeleton so far. Just getting slammed on. Oh, this should be fun. Good. Keep them off the pools. That's a strategy here, keep them off the pools. Kinda hard when there's so many pools.
skill's not ready. That skill's not ready.
He didn't like reconstitute or something, did he? No, I don't think so.
That skill's not ready.
Is that it? Distance. Well, I'm really glad that I had him linked up before that meteor hit me, because I'm pretty sure that would have murdered me. Kill these crystals because they're spawning dudes. Let me get them up here so I can actually see what's going on here. Keep moving. Or anything. Let's do it. He's going crazy.
That skill's not ready.
It's not a good place to be. All in. Alright, let's jump into the character itself. Let's start with the attributes. We dumped almost all of our points into physique here. We just really want to be as tanky as humanly possible. We didn't need spirit at all. We're not spamming spells or trying to cast anything that's very expensive. We did need to put just a tiny investment into cunning so that we could use some of our gear. Our offensive ability is not important. We're not doing damage ourselves. We're leaving all of that up to our pets. Defensive ability is very important. You want to be able to survive, run, kite the enemies, and continuously summon your minions, as they are a little squishy. You'll find skeletons die pretty easily. Capped resistances, the poison and acid, end up going to 80% when we use our Blood of Dreeg. I wish I could get it a little higher, and I probably could through some gear optimization, but 80 is just fine. As you can see, our health pool is massive, and this is unbuffed. When we put on all of our buffs, our health jumps up to 24,377. That is a huge health pool. the largest health pool of any character that I've made so far. Now let's jump into the gear. Starting with one of the primary items, this claw has many relevant bonuses for us, as you can see here, but what makes this really incredible is the crit damage and the plus 300 vitality damage to Call of the Grave. Call of the Grave is a temporary buff that is up about 50% of the time that gives our minions a huge damage steroid. Massive vitality and poison damage, huge all damage, massive crit damage, and a lot of healing per second. Our necklace, our amulet, this will give bonuses to relevant skills we're using. Also, it converts the chaos damage to fire damage for the Hellhound, gives us some physical resistance, and gives us a little bit of skill cooldown to our raised skeletons. The Sovereign skill itself is another damage steroid that we have at our disposal. This one is also up about 50% of the time, and it will give us 300% all damage, 15 crit damage, 70 offensive ability, and tons of resistances. When you turn on the Sovereign and the Call of the Grave at the same time, your minions will go Super Saiyan. And in this very short 10-second window, when both buffs are active, almost no enemy in the game can stand up to you. Your minions will hit so incredibly hard. With the chest piece that we have chosen to use, the Necrolord Shroud, this is going to give us an aura, which is hanging out right here. As long as we have this aura on, all of our minions gain quite a bit of flat vitality damage and extra vitality scaling. For the rest of the gear, I'm using the mythical Wildsworn leg guards. Tons of flat health, bonus to relevant stats that we're using, and very strong bonus to our pets. We could take or leave the acid retaliation. This is more there for the all damage and the health. A very unimpressive Acolyte's Cord. Just some basic bonuses here, and very good resistances for our minions. We are using the Mythical Grim Harvest boots. Same thing, very simple, blue boots. Total speed is a very important stat for the build. You want to have as much total speed as possible so your minions get to the monsters they're trying to kill faster and attack and cast faster. Mythical Overlord's Iron Grips. Not the best glove slot, but the one that I had. The flat health is nice to scale up our health pool, and any bonus to crit damage that we can get is always welcome for our pets. Offensive ability is also a very important stat for the pets to have. You want them to be critting as much as possible, as your two primary damage steroids increase your crit damage tremendously. A blue shield, the Mythical Dreadguard. It gives +1 to all Necromancer, very strong, several relevant bonuses. 101 to all damage, and 10% offensive ability, very, very useful. The only set item we're using, but no set bonus, is the Mythical Corruptor's Mask. The flat health is incredible. It offers extra bonuses to your raised skeletons and soul harvest. The very small flat vitality damage gets scaled up. For the rings, we're using a incredibly basic Wendigo's Conjuring Seal. I think this is a reward from a faction from Borrowhelm. Gives 61 all damage, crit damage, offensive ability, everything that we want to be having. And the Dreeg Venom Seal. I'm not sure, but I think this is also a reward from the Forgotten Gods expansion. Several bonuses to relevant skills, 75 to all damage, offensive and defensive ability for our pets. We have our Relic, which gives us all damage, crit damage, and a ton of offensive ability for our pets. This also has a chance on hit proc to give our pets flat damage. Flat damage to your pets is so important and so strong because of all of the sources of percent boosted damage that you have, any flat damage is scaled up tremendously. And finally, the mythical Undying Oath. There are several better options in the game for a medal for this build. I ended up having this one and chose it specifically for the vitality damage to Blood of Dreeg. With 207 flat vitality damage, when we have our Blood of Dreeg active, this will affect our pets as well, providing them a massive boost to their vitality damage, especially when we have our cooldowns active. Now let me summon all of my pets, because some of them provide auras that will make us even stronger. There we go. Here is a snapshot of our pet bonuses. 210% life, 1,120% to all damage. This is why I said earlier, having flat damage to your pets is so important. Any flat damage you have will be scaled by this massive number here. Attack speed, cast speed, run speed, very, very high. Huge offensive ability. Defensive ability does not matter as much, as your pets will die with or without defensive ability. And you want to try to get the resistances as high as possible to prevent them from dying instantly to ground damage over time effects. Let's move on to the skills. 7 out of 10 points for the Curse of Frailty. Taking vulnerability to its soft cap, as overcapping it doesn't do too much for us. Putting as many points as we can into Blood of Dreeg, as we want the flat offensive ability aspect of the Guardian to provide several extra resistances and damage bonuses to them. This is something that is a personal preference, having the 1 point in each of the Summon Familiars. I just kind of felt obligated to do this. These are entirely optional. What is not optional, however, is maxing Bonds of Bismiel and Manipulation as much as you possibly can. 1 point into each of the skills that the Hellhound has, as your gear will end up providing several skill points on their own. The Hellhound is a good source of secondary damage and reduction to enemy health. Switching over to the Necromancer, we do take 1 point into Bone Harvest, primarily so that we can have the Soul Harvest modifier. When we do this, we give 20 vitality damage and plus 45 all damage to our minions. It doesn't seem like much, but that very small amount of vitality damage will get scaled up tremendously through all of our damage bonuses. We put as many points into Raised Skeleton as we can. The higher the points, the more chance that we have to summon higher level skeletons. Not only that, but their damage gets much stronger. We take Undead Legion as high as we can. I would recommend only putting enough points till you reach the next plus to the summon limit. If you can only get +5 summons, do not invest any more points into it until you can get to that +6 summon limit. And as many points as possible into Will of the Crypt. This gives a +198 vitality damage scaling with flat vitality damage, which is our primary damage source for our minions. Spectral Binding and Spectral Wrath, we only put 1 point into. Our gear ends up giving us quite a bit of a bonus to these skills, and they're just nice to have for little investment. As we discussed earlier, Call of the Grave needs to be maxed out and overcapped if possible. Master of Death is an aura that will affect all your minions and make them do much more damage. It also converts 25% physical into vitality damage, and gives +12% offensive ability. Both of those are the most important bonus that we will receive from the Master of Death. 1 point into Mark of Torment, just for some extra protection. The 3.9 seconds that this is active, you are pretty much unkillable. Summon Blight Fiend is a very strong pet. The most powerful skill for the Blight Fiend is Rotting Fumes, as this generates additional threat to help keep you safe and reduces the defensive ability of all of the enemies around it. causing your minions to critically hit far more often and for much more damage. Our devotion setup is pretty basic. We have 5 into Ascendant, 4 Chaos, 6 Eldritch, 10 Order, and 15 Primordial. The notable constellations that we pick up are Lizard for incredible life regeneration, Staff of Ratosh for great defensive options and resistances for our pets, the Panther for extra pet offensive ability, the Eel primarily to fulfill devotion requirements for the Primordial, Scales of Ulkama for the Tip the Scales passive, the Crane for extra resistances that the build desperately needs, the Behemoth for extra life and extra life regeneration, and the 3 primary, I would say, necessary constellations for your pets will be Mons of Bismiel, which allows you to have a Eldritch Hound every so often. Every extra pet you have in this build will increase your damage tremendously. Acid Spray to reduce target's resistances. Putting Acid Spray on the raised skeletons will allow all of your raised skeletons to proc this ability, which is a huge extra damage boost to them. And finally, the Shepherd's Call, which when active gives us a ton of damage to our pets and a lot of crit damage. One final note, I always put my minions on aggressive. This will help with clear greatly. As you can see, my hotbar is so full, I don't have a way to use the pet attack command. I just let them kill whatever they want. I let them go crazy. I greatly appreciate you checking out my video. If you have any suggestions, comments, questions, or just general feedback, please let me know in the comments below. This is my only pet-based character in Grim Dawn, so I'm sure there are many improvements that can be made. As always, please enjoy the rest of your day. Peace, peace.